Hi, welcome back. Yeah, another. This one is going to be actually pretty good. A very unusual one. Uh, Gene the Dancing Machine. Well, back in about say around 2000. When was it? Shoot, I can't even remember. Trying to remember when I was taking care of my father, helping out with the other members of the family, taking care of my father. He was dying of cancer. Well, I don't know. They were doing some kind of experiment. We all helping out, and shoot, sometime around 2006. Let's just say 2006. Okay, so yeah, and we would go to he would call me up from where he was, and he'd say, hey, we got this is what they say we're having at the senior center, and this sound good to you? And it never sounded good to me. Believe me, the food they feed you at the senior centers is 99% crap. But I would listen to what he had to say, and he'd sometimes maybe a half of it could be edible. So I'd say, okay, yeah, I'll come pick you up. Uh, or I'll, yeah, actually, we were so close together. It worked out because I could walk over to where he was if I wanted, or take whatever. We made our way down there to the senior center. And there was this lady, um, and we got to the senior center, and I didn't know what the heck was going on. I was the only young person there, and so my father and I were standing there, like wondering, okay, what do we do? Maybe he had been there before, but I don't know. But this lady um, said, called him by his name and said, "You and you," meaning me, come along with me, and I'm gonna tell you where to sit. And she just took us to a table where we were faced across with some other old folks, and what I just was very grateful for that lady to have stepped in and did what she did, because we didn't know what the heck was going on. You know what I mean? She was just very helpful to help us navigate the senior center, and so I mean, you just uh, don't. I wasn't one that would want to just barge in there with pop and then just like sit down and make some other senior people feel uncomfortable. So you know what I mean? It was divided up into tables. So we all went to these different tables, and it was a very nice time. Like I say, the food wasn't that great, but I just remember that lady helping us out, and I was really grateful, and I always remember her. And so, yeah, we did that. I think we, for about quite some time, about once a week while I was helping take care of him. And over the time, got to know each other. And I remember a really funny joke she said, that when she used to work at this place, and the girl next to her sneezed, and she said, "Are you catching a cold? Well, that's what you get for sleeping with a thin man." So she was quite a character. Uh, and she was 85 years old. And another thing that came out in conversation was that at the age of 85, she was a great, 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 grandmother, great, 3 times. So 3 times. So you're not only a grandmother, but you're great, great, great. 3 times 85. Well, every time the generation they would have had it started making babies in their teen years to in order to be 85 and already be a 3 times great grandmother, that means their children would have had to have started really young. So I thought that was amusing, and we became best of friends. Me and her and Pop and the other people. And then later on, it was about time for me to leave. I had to get back to work. I couldn't afford to. I stayed with Pop a long time, maybe 3 or 4 months, and I was getting broke, and I had to go back to work as a contractor in Southern California, and I had to leave town. And the last I remember, they threw a little party, and they had really good food, and they had dancing. They had a live band. I think they weren't very good, but they had just a shindig, and then there was the old folks were dancing, and I, like same as before, I was one of the few younger people, 40 somethings, and the last thing I remember was that Jean, the dancing machine, asked me to, that lady, she asked me to, if I would like to, it was all, the party was breaking up, and we were the last ones on the dance floor, and she asked me to just dance around, and that's when I remembered. I know this lady from a long time ago. This old girl has been around. Let me tell you, it flashed back. I remembered I met her 20 years before, or was it? Yeah, it was. And it was, my friend and I had gone to, they had converted to disco in the late 70s, and this was around 1980 or so, 81, 82, 83, I don't know. And he had a real pretty cousin, and she was only about 15 years old, and we danced together slowly. We didn't hit it. We didn't make it. We didn't hit it off. But it's like in the wings was Jean, and Jean decided that we would go for a ride, and she would take me home. And on our way home, we were making love, and we were really. See, I was only 23, and she was 63, and it was just very strange. And I was trying to. I couldn't get her. What you call? She had some strange apparatus blouse. I couldn't get unbuttoned, and then we fell asleep in her bed. And she had a really nice home, and it was near that place, and it dawned on me, this was the girl a long time ago that I had fooled around with. Oh my goodness. Now, and it never dawned on me until then. So that's why this is such a strange story. So yes, I will never forget you, Jean, the dancing machine. I never was much of a dancer myself, but she sure was. And it's just that such a shame that we didn't Well, what I'm trying to say is that around the same time, there's a spookier story. In the late 1970s, there was a serial killer going around killing people, older ladies, and one of them was a friend of my mom's, and my friend too, because we used to go fishing at her place, and hang out just a couple times. I didn't know her that well, but my mom was her friend, and there was this strange case of somebody killing these older ladies, and there was a paranoia that had set in. Like, I remember we're flashing